Hello friends, let's begin our journey. We are going to learn about pyramids, mummies, pharaohs and basically everything about ancient Egypt. Let's cruise into the geographical site of ancient Egypt.
Egypt is a country that still exists today, situated in the northeastern Africa. You may be wondering, why do we call it ancient Egypt? That is because it is a civilization that started 5,000 years ago and lasted about 3,000 years. Ancient Egypt was also the first and oldest civilizations in the world. It was also one of the most enigmatic civilizations in the history. Ancient Egyptians left behind many clues about their way of life, from gigantic temples and pyramids to statues and wall paintings, mummies and hieroglyphics.
Ahlan wa sahlan. How can I help?
Ahlan bik. Why was the Nile River so important to the ancient Egyptians?
Well, my friend, it's very simple. As you must already know that all of the early civilizations were near a river, and Egypt is mostly desert with a very dry and hot climate. But the Nile makes it possible to grow many crops. Therefore, ancient Egypt could not have existed without the river Nile.
But why would you build a civilization around the river?
It's because the water is the biggest resource of survival, and the Nile is the longest river in the world, giving life to the forms along its banks. The Nile has a length of about 6,695 kilometers. In the summer heat melts the snow in the mountains far to the south of Egypt. The water rushes thousands of kilometers down the Nile. The water level rises and the riverbanks are flooded. This makes the soil rich, black, and fertile, perfect for growing crops. Also, farmers in ancient Egypt use irrigation to help water their crops, helps them grow even more food. Please notice in the picture the Nile and its fertile banks and the desert landscape.
So, they lived near the Nile because it provided them with water, food, transportation, and excellent soil for growing food. What else did the Nile provide for the ancient Egyptians?
Reeds, called papyrus, grew along the Nile. The Egyptians made paper and boats from reeds. Also, the Nile gave the Egyptians food. They used spears and nets to catch fish. They also used the nets to catch birds that flew close to touch the water. Another way the Nile helped the ancient Egyptians was in trade. The Nile was the quickest and easiest way to travel from one place to another.
Shukran.
Let's take the tour to the pyramids and unfold the mysteries of mummies. Oh, don't be scared, as they will not do anything to harm you. As you all know that ancient Egyptians believed in life after death, so they mummified the pharaoh's body so that the pharaoh would live forever. Most famous pyramid was built for three pharaohs, Khufu, his son Khafre, and his grandson Menkaure, more than 4,500 years ago. The pharaohs buried themselves with gold and other valuable objects. The ancient Egyptians chose to build on a Giza plateau because it towers over the Nile. It makes the pyramids the imposing marvels on the horizon.
Why did the ancient Egyptians build pyramids along the west bank of the Nile?
The ancient Egyptians believed the land of the dead was where the sun set, so they built the pyramids along the west bank of the river Nile.
This is so mesmerizing. What is the name of the most famous pyramid?
The Great Pyramid is the largest and the most famous one. It was built for Pharaoh Khufu. It is over than 147 meters high, and it took 20 years to build and demanded the labor of 100,000 men. Approximately 2.3 million blocks were cut, transported, and assembled to create this 5.75 million ton structure. It is one of the seven wonders of ancient Egypt still standing today.
Oh my god, unbelievable. One last question. How do pyramids help us know so much about life in ancient Egypt?
As I mentioned earlier, ancient Egyptians were buried with their belongings and the tomb's walls were painted with scenes from the dead person's life. So, archaeologists examined those artifacts and paintings in the tombs, and we were able to understand a lot more about life back then.
How captivating. Shukran for showing me so much. I have learned a lot today.
Yes, let me call the mummy to share few information too.
Egyptians didn't simply bury the people who died in grave. Instead, they preserved the dead bodies as a mummy.
Oh, please, stop scaring people. Go away. Through the process of mummification, a dead body was dried out and lasted a long time without decaying. Ancient Egyptians were very good at this process. By preparing the bodies, they learned about body organs, which helps them to be the skilled doctors.
Wow, how fascinating is that? Where are we now? Fantastic.
Oh, allow me to introduce myself. I am Howard Carter, the famous archaeologist that you all have been reading about in your books. And yes, I am the one who discovered King Tutankhamun's tomb. The tomb of Tutankhamun is one of the most famous archaeological findings of all time. Let me take you back in time in 1922. I carefully made a hole in one corner of the tomb's door. Then I lit a candle and put it inside. And there, for the first time, I saw strange animals, statues, and gold everywhere. I was the first person who stepped into King Tut's tomb. Soon, I discovered the king's body that had been buried behind a wall of solid gold.
Well, this is some valuable information about King Tut's tomb.
Now, the artifacts shown across the world are returning home to Egypt. So stay tuned for latest updates.
Excuse me, could you help me? I would like to learn more about ancient Egyptian gods and goddesses.
The religious system of ancient Egyptians was quite detailed, and they believed in many gods and goddesses. According to them, the gods and goddesses played a very important role in their life and afterlife. They built many temples to please them. They thought that this will protect them and bring happiness in their life. Some of the most important gods and goddesses are
Isis, the goddess of life and magic, was famous for her wisdom. She was wife of Osiris and mother of Horus. She was also known as Mother Goddess.
Ra was the most important god. He was out of all the gods. He was usually shown in human form with a falcon head, crowned with a sun disk, encircled by a sacred cobra, as sailed across the heaven in a boat. At the end of each sail, Ra was thought to die and sailed on his night voyage through the underworld, leaving the moon to light the world above.
Hathor appeared as a woman with a cow's head. She was the goddess of woman, birth, love, music, and dancing. She was the wife of Horus and the daughter of Ra.
Basted, the goddess of Gat, home, moon, and the fire was related with good fortune and happiness. She was also a very fierce fighter, and the pharaohs asked her help in many battles. Ma'at was known as the goddess of balance and justice. The pharaohs believed that she was very important for keeping peace on their land.
past, other religions took place of the ancient Egyptian religion, and the gods and goddesses were also forgotten, but their stories can still be heard on, and their pictures can still be seen in the pyramids, tombs, and museums.
Ancient Egyptians were amazing innovators, while the pyramids still stand as a reminder of their architectural sophistication. The people of ancient Egypt were also responsible for a vast and surprising array of inventions still in use today.
Well, that brings us to the end of our virtual tour of ancient Egypt. It is not wrong to say that the ancient Egyptians shaped the modern world. It turns out that their society was responsible for the early version of everything.
Thank you so much, everyone, for sharing such interesting information about ancient Egypt. I have learned so much. Hope to see you all soon. Bye bye.